So as you can see, I'm inside a unit, and this is an explanation as to what's been happening with some of the cars. We've got the Z3, we've got the M3, we've got the 328i Sport, and we've got a new addition to the garage here. Welcome to another episode of All Talk. I bet you can't see me, but you can now. So I bet you guys have been wondering where the hell I have been for the past 4 months, and it has been that long. And that's a bit of a long story, so we better get into it. First of all, I want to start by saying an absolutely huge thank you to the NHS. One of the reasons that I've not been producing videos is that my father-in-law has been in hospital with COVID, in a coma and on a ventilator since just after Christmas. The whole family got it, including me. I was pretty ill. The rest of the family were generally fine, but Ray, my father-in-law, ended up very poorly indeed, and he's been looked after by an incredible team at Sunderland Royal Hospital, and I'd just like to extend my thanks to these guys for the work that they have done in keeping him alive and doing whatever they can to try and facilitate a recovery. So, yep, if you're somewhere watching this and you happen to be one of the staff at Sunderland Royal Hospital, just a massive thank you from all of us, the family. So as you can see, I'm inside a unit, and this is an explanation as to what's been happening with some of the cars. We've got the Z3, we've got the M3, we've got the 328i Sport, and we've got a new addition to the garage here, which you may have just seen in part of the video. This is an E46 Club Sport, very rare car. This is a manual model, one of the rarest E46s that they made, and I'm going to do a whole video on this and talk to you about this car as well shortly soon. So where is this unit? Well, this unit is in County Durham, and I got this unit for some additional storage space and also to do some detailing work and some repair work for them. I needed the extra storage over winter for some of these cars, and when I flick the camera around, you will see that there's some other cars lying around in the yard in front, and I'll give you an update on what's happening, because there's been a couple of additions to the garage and a couple of cars that maybe going the journey. Not quite yet decided, but let's talk to you about what's happening with all of these, and then we can go from there. So down here is the Z3, and I've not touched this car for quite a while now. As you can see, it is covered in dust from being inside here, and there's quite a bit to do to get this right. We've got wing mirrors to sort out down here. Obviously, we've got some paint work. This car was actually scraped on the opposite side, so I've got that paint work to deal with at some stage. I don't know if you can actually even see that somewhere down here. So there's quite a bit to do with that one, and also there's a water pump cooling system to deal with this. There's also some new belts to go on and a new thermostat, a Meili thermostat. The M3, as I say, this needs a full detail after having the render from the neighbours go all over this car. It looks an absolute mess. It had just been detailed about 2 weeks before as well, so that's frustrating. I have had the prop shaft rebuilt on that and balanced, and yet that's driving really nicely. And obviously the 328i Sport has a bit of body work to do, and we've still got some cooling work to do on this one. We've just had the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Anthony Usher arrive, and he stood there looking like a reject from East 17. Christmas video, I like it. So that is about where we are with the cars inside, and I'll show you some other stuff outside. Take it from there. Outside in the yard, we've got all sorts of chaos going on. The Mercedes S600 is still here, and it's still broken. This W220 5.5 litre twin turbo absolute monster is yes, it's not working still, and it's the ABC suspension. The pipes are leaking, they're very rotten, and it's just sitting really just going to rack and ruin, and I need to do something with this because I love this car. This is the fastest Mercedes in County Durham. It's really not, but it's a bit of a running joke with Usher over his old E55. It's still a very quick car, 500 horsepower out of the boxes when it's running right. So we've got that to deal with. I'm going to come on and talk to you about this. You guys have not seen this. This is a J-registered Volkswagen Corrado. It's a rare car in itself, the G60. However, this one has got a bunch of mods on there. So we've got a stroker engine with a stage 4 Jabba Sport supercharger. We've got Bilstein coilovers, Miltech exhaust. We've had a massive stereo in this, of which some of those things are still here. And these classic Momo Arrow alloy wheels. I really need to do something with this. It does turn over, it doesn't start, there is no spark. I don't know whether to just give it a quick restore, get it running, full spray job, and then use this car, or whether or not we should do a little bit more in-depth work on it and get it really very special. Should we even change the colour? Comment below. I think this would look absolutely amazing in a mulberry or a really crazy green. I know the values in these are really original, but this car is already massively modified, and it's period correct modified, and I think there's a lot of interest and value in that scene as well. Obviously, you are aware of my winter beater that has been with me for around 5-6 years now. This is the Audi Allroad with a 2.7 bi-turbo engine. What you can't see just off camera is yet another purchase, and I am going to show you that. It's a P38 Range Rover, a limited edition 1999 Vogue SE with the 4.6 engine, and what an absolute machine these are when they work. Now, this Range Rover came from a trader, and it was a trade sale. It wasn't as described actually in the appraisal. I'm a little bit frustrated, but it is what it is. You've got to take it on the chin sometimes. There's some missing history with it that was meant to be with the car that I'm still trying to chase down. We've got problems with the bumpers, key marks, scratches, some cracking to the veneer, so there's quite a bit of work to do to get this to where it needs to be. The brake discs are warped as well, which I did know about. The wing mirror covers, they are also in need of paint. I'm going to detail this. We're going to paint correct it, wash it, decontaminate it, and see where we get to. I'd like to use this as it sits, and I hoped it would just be mechanical work, but it's going to be cosmetic. If we can't get it near, we're going to have to paint both sides of the car. There's also a little bit of rust on the tailgate. Let me show you that. Again, a very, very common P38 problem. There's some PDR dents here that need to come out. Some scratches there, some of which will actually polish out. Crack in the rear light. These are quite cheap, so that's not a big deal. As I say, the paintwork isn't brilliant at all. It really isn't. On this door here, the door is catching onto the wing, so that needs dealing with and touching up. The various deep scratches there, which won't come out, and again, that's why we might decide to paint the car, or we might just touch it up depending on how it looks. Somebody's fitted an aftermarket stereo, which is actually okay because it's got an auxiliary input so I can listen to some tunes. The speakers on this are Harman Kardon, and they need refurbishment. Some of them are blown, so it sounds okay, but it's not brilliant. Sunroof does fortunately work. We've got some loose trim that needs dealing with. But generally speaking, actually, the inside is really the best bit of the car. This is not a low mileage car. It's done about 130,000 miles, I think, from memory. So what am I going to do with this car? Well, I intended to try and get this looking, not pristine, but still really, really nice, really clean, so that it's something that I can drive around in and waft around in as an old school four-wheel drive luxury classic. And there's a lot to do because there's some of the lacquer that's lifting on this wood, and I don't really know how to fix that. I mean, I can machine polish scratches, etc. out of lacquer and make that look great, but I'm not really knowledgeable about the process, so we're going to have to try and work out if there's anything I can do to restore this this wood look back to a better condition. It's pretty decent, but it's not where I want it to be. Vogue SE, for those in the know, a rare thing. Don't know what's in the boot of this, it will be messy, but got that big P38 boot. Can fit all sorts of stuff in there. Drop down seats, obviously, with a split 60/40 rear. As you can see, this has got all kinds of warning lights on this P38. Again, some of these I was aware of, some I wasn't. So what have we got? We've got an ABS, we've got a traction control light, we've got an airbag fault, we've got the CSRS system. So we've got all sorts to fix on this. But yes, I love these things, even though I know that by next week it will be even more broke than it already is. So I need to take a look at the car and figure out what's wrong with it. I know that it does have an oil leak from under here, and I'm going to take a proper look at that later on when we've got some inspection lights. Yeah, that oil's getting thrown down the car. Oh, quite a few. So there's a bit of work to do there. So, first of all, I'd like to say thank you to everybody for watching this episode, and thank you to everybody who still actually subscribes to this channel, because I understand how boring it is when a content creator just doesn't actually put out any content, and it's been months and months and months. So thank you for hanging in there, and thank you for being patient. Do you know something? I really want to create great YouTube content. I've got cars lying around. I do a lot of stuff day in, day out, and I really want to give you stuff that you guys want to watch. I really value the importance of content creators right now. It gives people a platform to do something different, to create very niche sections of content. And I'm a big fan of old cars, older cars, not just old cars, new stuff as well, and technology. But it's nice to get some of these old cars and show you what they are, and get a different audience from everybody who's in their, you know, teens all the way through to people that are in their 50s and 60s and like even older stuff than this. It's more nostalgic. So comment below, let me know what you would like to see more of. I am going to genuinely try to put more videos out. As you already know, there's a lot of mayhem going on in my life at the moment, but I'm positive, I'm focused, and I'm doing everything possible to keep everything going along quite smoothly and still try and create some videos along the way. Thank you for watching this episode of All Talk, and I will see you in the next one.